Abide not in duality. Refrain from all pursuit of it. Sangsong states this point more often than any other, spiraling back to this core truth. The opening couplet refers to not picking and choosing. Soon he mentions discarding pro and con and like and dislike. Here, Sangsong restates his core message without an illustration or example of duality, simply stating that one should refrain from pursuit of dualism in any form. He does this because the previous couplet advises us to not go searching for the truth. All dualisms embed themselves in the ideas of true and false in the sense of either/or. The idea that something, or statements about things, have only one of two possibilities, either true or false, does not actually apply or appear in our real world. Nothing exists entirely green, entirely good, entirely high, entirely weak, completely wet. In the fluid world in which we actually live, things manifest as mostly green, somewhat good, or good in certain circumstances, high from a certain point of view, weak within a defined context, wet for a period of time, etc. The believer in ontological bivalence, the theory of either or, can critique Sangsong by saying that either his theory has truth or it doesn't, thereby reinstating bivalence. One may respond to this maneuver at a philosophical level in at least two ways. First, one may say that the theory of multivalent truth possibilities, that things can manifest as somewhat true, true in a way, and true from a point of view, also applies to the theory of multivalent truth. In other words, multivalence applies in a way, from a certain perspective, under certain conditions. Therefore, one has no need to fall back on bivalence in order to justify a multivalent approach. The believer in bivalence will then point out that such a defense of bivalence leads to an infinite regress, to which the defender of multivalence can respond by noting that an infinite regress does not necessarily imply the falsity of a theory. In fact, an infinite regress in this case simply reflects and gives an example of, an instantiation of, the infinite possible truth values of existence. A second approach the defender of multivalence has lies in pointing out that bivalence has no foundation. For example, in Aristotle's Metaphysics, Aristotle states that bivalence does not consist of a demonstrable truth, but rather a first principle which one must bring to any argument. Bivalence functions as an unproved and unprovable axiom, arbitrarily assumed. In fact, in the West, bivalence appears out of mythic revelation. Bivalence appears first in Parmenides' poem, given to him as a revelation by a goddess. Bivalence has no claim to obviousness. Bivalence has no claim to self-evident clarity. And if we open our senses and allow the world to manifest to us and authenticate us, we do not perceive a world of bivalence, but rather a world of graceful categories mutually interacting and participating in each other. Nothing exists exclusively, separately, on its own terms or by itself. As Alfred North Whitehead noted in his essay on immortality, quote, "The misconception which has haunted philosophic literature throughout the centuries is the notion of independent existence. There is no such mode of existence. Every entity is only to be understood in terms of the way in which it is interwoven with the rest of the universe," close quote. If independence does not exist, then either or cannot exist. We need to replace the axiom of bivalence with the axiom of the primal rainbow, a world not of white light but of infinite variety. Infinite variety as a primal characteristic of existence. Occam's razor has grown dull.